5 by 3, 5 by 3, 5 by 3. Is it a Fibonacci series? Is it a Euler's code? Or is it a trigonometry kind of formula? Any guesses? What is 5 by 3? And this code you will hear throughout the day. Any guesses? 5 by 3. There is a challenge today in AI, and this challenge stems from last 25 years. What is an industry today where we all make our money? It's called technology, software, or IT at best. 3 definitions, 3 nomenclatures, but it subsumes every part of what we call a $250 billion industry. But when it comes to AI analytics, we've got tons of definitions. 15 years back, I met a gentleman who's present in the room, and I asked him, why exactly we have made all these acronyms, nomenclatures, definitions in AI analytics? And he said in a very lighter vein, just to elongate our career. I said, can you please enlighten me? How does that elongation of career comes in? And he said, look, the more we confuse and make this industry complex, the more are the ways for our clients to invest in AI. And that gentleman has to bite the words today. I'm sure, not him, but no one in this room could fathom the acceleration what we are enjoying today in democratization of AI. For some, it's faster than expected. For some, it's like a disruption. For some, they're taking it on the chin. And for some, look, I never saw that coming. That's exactly my point today, that when we are talking about AI, we are actually talking about a drop in the ocean. And I give this analogy about OpenAI. Look, suddenly, with this OpenAI coming in, tools, models becoming democratized, OpenAI is just like a nuclear power station or an electricity power station. Do you need 1, 2 electricity power stations? Of course, you need multiple to ignite the electricity, not only for the countries, but for the homes as well. But when you put the socket in the plug, that socket in the plug could be a toaster, could be a microwave, could be a kind of a grinder. That's where the tools, platforms, services, solutions of AI comes in. There's a pre-trained AI, there is a post-trained AI. And both today fundamentally are challenging the essence of AI. It's not just about data engineering. It's not about just saying, look, I create a data platform, I create a kind of a very quasi model and I'm good with that. No. The biggest change what has come in today is AI alone is not enough. And when we were mulling over, cogitating about this whole essence of event, if you guys remember, most of you attended our last 2 editions of AI MAX, but that particular event was called AI MAX. And we realized this year that, look, AI per se will not solve the large, complex, unresolved problem of the enterprises or GCC. It needs a very separate treatment altogether. But alongside with GenAI, there are multiple elements which needs emphasis, which needs a very deep dive approach. It needs enterprise-grade deployment. And on top of that, we have today a gold rush of GCCs. And none of the GCCs today would be able to survive, sustain if they're not talking about AI. And we've seen those conversations amongst the audience, the CXO boards, and even the senior leaders. It's imminent. Now, what does this whole event encapsulate? So my entire session of today is divided into 3 dimensions. I'll talk about the event. I'll talk about what 3AI is all about, because many of you outside were talking to me, okay, when is our next event? When can we do one more roundtable? There is much beyond that. Third, there is an aggregated viewpoints what we have collated from our leaders, what we call our thought leaders, either from enterprise provider firms, GCCs, or even I would say startups. That is the feedback I would like to kind of share and also provide a segue to the keynote address, and I'll talk about that a bit later. Now, 5x3 is 5 coverage elements of AI, Gen AI, data engineering, cloud, data platform, and if you also include, which is the new buzzword, agentic AI, 5 AI coverage elements, 3 industry segments, GCCs, platforms, provider firms, which subsumes the entire side of how they are actually supplying this whole AI, whether it could be platform, could be a kind of a solutions or services. What's important today? When we were looking at themes, it's not easy to encapsulate the 5 coverage elements along the 3 industry segments in one day. So what we did, we got the experts out here. For the first time ever in our event, 70 plus Upper Crest, GCC Leader Circle, Thought Leader Circle, and Changemaker Circle leaders are speaking today. 70 plus, and if I aggregate the overall number of TLCs, what we have in this rooms who are here and about to come would be closer to about 250. Now, who are these thought leaders, GLC, Upper Crest? Again, I'll come to that, but more important, these are the leaders who have seen this movie multiple times. What we are here is to ensure that everyone starts exploring the infinite possibilities of AI, which is good, but also the promise to life. If it's not getting deployed, if it's not getting internalized, if it's not getting into motion, it's just a buzzword then. In the event show reel, what we showcased earlier was precisely the point. We still have those notions around POCs can make an enterprise-wide AI going. No. We have still a huge challenge of multiple AI projects going down the drain. And there is a quintessential challenge of where is the ROI from AI? Let's start discussing, and this is exactly what happens in the coverage areas as well. My bad. Let me also talk about, there are 2 zones, transformation zone, which is where you're sitting, innovation zone, which would be opening up at 10:30. Now, what's the difference? Transformation zone is all about the art of possible. This is where you will have experts, opinion makers, industry leaders talking about how exactly AI in the multiple shape, forms, rendition is actually being internalized by the industry. In the innovation zone, we would largely be having the use cases, architecture workshops, and law of role plays. Now that's where the promise to life comes into how exactly these leaders who are speaking would actually be implementing that, whether it's a startup or platform company, enterprise, GCC, or even a consulting firm. Now, that's not all. Throughout the day, almost about 45 sessions, and we would like to crunch it in a single day. I think gone are the days where we can pull people for 2 days, expect them to kind of come in for breakfast and leave and come show up again. Not possible. Our entire fundamental is of the belief, if knowledge and insight needs to be imbibed or needs to be kind of cultivated, just thrust it. And the thrust only happens when the push happens in a very, very large force, and that's exactly is the endeavor from our side. We also did a hackathon, Agent Max, and we would have those winners doing a pitch. Amazing set of agentic AI application scenarios they discussed, and we would like to have the audience listen to that as well. And not to kind of take out Zenith Awards, our 5th edition, 3,500 plus nominations, almost 40 winners, an amazing set of winners what we'll have. But also important to note is there are 5 to 6 panel discussions what we have today, unplugged debate, leaders exclusive. We also have something called in a lighter vein, given it's a Friday blockbuster session. Now these are the group panel sessions which are actually curated. The themes have come in from the crowdsourced way of our leaders talking about, look, this should be included, this is topical, this is top of the mind in terms of the leaders, let's go ahead and start doing that, and we have incorporated that. Coverage area, huge set of coverage. Anything you want to double down around Gen AI, agentic AI, data engineering, platform, also about cloud, and even go through more deep dive in terms of industries, we got it all covered today. Of course, the takeaways will emerge. We are also trying to create a set of thematic reports, takeaway sessions, and also engage in a bit of what we call survey today as well, so that the idea is to gather a lot of opinions from this group. Speakers, we always take a pride in terms of how our speakers are trying to create a next level of thought leadership, not only in just AI, but allied industries. Top of the line leaders, I have a privilege of knowing many of them. And when I speak to them, it almost comes out that, look, we're all standing at a stage where, let's call it, for the lack of a better word, we are just novice, we are just learners today. This industry, for the last 20 years, or rather 25 years, has always been cushioned. Guardrails, ROI, impact, I don't understand. But fact is, this is the fastest growing industry amongst all exponential technology. Can we have a huge round of applause for the ones who are in the AI analytics industry? 5 award categories, great set of, I would say, nominations what we got. Now for the ones who always believe that, look, what is there something which makes us a bit different? Yes. Some of you still term us as an event company. Some of you still call us a MarTech company. Some of you still call us a platform or a kind of a, let's say, different set of definitions. Well, you're not wrong. When we started 5 years back, we ourselves started with serendipity. I keep on saying sometimes too much of mulling over strategic viewpoints doesn't land up when you start an entrepreneurial journey. And the whole remit for us, even at that point of time, was very clear. We want to democratize thought leadership at scale. Now, this is, again, a very often abused word, thought leadership. If you just take LinkedIn today and just search for thought leaders, first of all, topical, you'll find everyone a GCC thought leader. And when you look down in terms of their experience, no one has ever worked in GCCs over there. Okay? You look for AI thought leaders, got plenty of them who are calling themselves AI thought leaders, but ask them about one project, one engagement where they have seen or created or kind of really took that particular impact to the next level. You have a lack of words coming from them. And this is something we believe as an industry. If you have to raise the bar, take few notches up, you got to have thought leaders who can actually build the next level of definition of AI, not only in India, but outside as well. In addition to the numbers, I think the biggest thing what we take a pride, 17,000 nominations over the last 5 years, only 1,600 plus thought leaders. And I'm not saying the ones who are not making the cut are not the thought leaders, but they don't belong to 3AI. And the reason I say with immense pride from my team also is, when you take the sum total of the knowledge of these 1,600 leaders, it starts showing out here in our events, in our roundtables, in our networking meetups, when we do across locations. Because when the brightest and the top of the line minds speak, magic too happens out there. And of course, then you have to double down to ensure the leaders are always challenged. And that's where we have created 4 bespoke leadership forums. Upper Crest, absolutely top of the run. Thought Leader Circle, which is our signature. We launched GLC, which is a GCC Leader Circle. And for the ones who are really progressive, emerging, upcoming, Changemaker Circle. Alongside these 4 thought leaders, or rather leadership forums, we've been running continuously a series of engagement programs across the 6 cities in India, now in Dubai. We'll also expand. But the rallying cry remains the same, that look, whether it's AI or GCCs, we are there. Any topical idea, any kind of a new application, any kind of a theme which resonates needs to be discussed. And above all, at some level, I think it's more personal today when we talk with the leaders that, look, why do you want to be associated with 3AI? And I think if I take out some of the other things, one common observation comes in, Samir, we belong here. And which is a manifestation of the largeness of the platform we always wanted to create and curate, that look, how do we get the best of the eclectic, heterogeneous, marquee leaders, but the ones who have made the mark and are also eager to learn. And I can tell with no qualms, many of the conversations I've been part of with them, they come with their hats of titles of no egos, no corporate kind of, let's say, agenda, no kind of, let's say, any kind of different dynamics. They are here to create a set of insights, exchange peer-to-peer, and also create a professional camaraderie which goes beyond the realms of enterprises or GCs. And that's exactly what I call is the soul of 3AI. Having said that, now the challenge always comes in when you engage with the brightest and the best of the minds. How do you keep really this particular thing going? Of course, many of you have told us, look, you don't get tired, me and my team, with this kind of grinds of networking sessions, roundtables, events, or I think we picked up our passion very clearly. That look, at some level, if an industry needs to be given a pivot, needs to be given a face, needs to have a soul, maybe we can do our bit. If not significantly contributing, but doing our own fraction of the work, what we can do to bring the AI and GCC industry together. And over the years, I think the biggest change what we have seen is now the scale and outreach has started talking, where when we say that we have 430 plus GCCs representation, their leaders, country head MDs, site leaders, AI, data, analytics leaders, tech leaders are part of our platform. More importantly, enterprises. Pick up top 90, 100 Indian enterprises. We have their CDOs, CTOs, chief operating officers, part of our platform as well. And not to take out huge set of startups, consulting firms, hyperscalers, AI firms as well. Now, if you start aggregating that entire concoction of the leaders, events, networking forums, knowledge insights, thematic roundtables become subservient of that. And which is what our emphasis is, how do we curate the best of the properties? And I'll explain some of our properties which many of you may not be aware. This is in a snapshot, some of the events what we do throughout the year, which what we call our large-scale format events. 5 different set of awards, what we have engaged ourselves with. Offerings, I'll spend a minute out here. Many of you may not be aware, we also run a senior leadership executive search firm, Meraki. When we started, almost about 2 years back, December we clocked 2 years, this entire idea came in from our thought leaders that, look, no one understands our profile better than 3AI. And I keep on saying that, look, the secrets what we hold for each of the leaders will go to our graveyard, but let me tell you, when some leaders reveal their secrets, the secrets are never easy to digest. And these are not something I would say different set of secrets. These are all what we say the professional challenges what leaders face. Spend 20 years, 25 years in the industry, and then you realize that, look, we never had a persona, we never had a POV, and we never engaged in the right circle of influence where we can make our presence felt. We never felt that we also need a positioning, branding, visibility. And often it was getting construed or misconstrued with the quantum of events you want to get in, the kind of impressions you should gain on the LinkedIn and the professional kind of a media. No, that's not thought leadership. Won't take you far. None of our 25 senior leaders who actually got selected in Meraki in multiple firms got there because of their branding, visibility, or persona. No. They could do one single thing as a secret sauce. Show what you talk, walk the talk as we call it. They could actually demonstrate what they have written in their profile. Impact only comes in when you know you've really delivered it. Rest is all what we call garbage. I think that's a reality check for the leaders today, whether you belong to AI, GCC. We have to start separating wheat from the chaff. Enough is being said today. And Pankaj and me always have this discussion. I was even talking to Shalini from KPMG, and they both are seen in many of the events. They represent in multiple forums, and they always keep on saying that, look, it's not working in a way if we have these linear set of events just with a state agenda, topical themes are lacking, there is no coherence. And yes, it's right today. Of course, no one can stop anyone from launching or triggering new events, but the fact is, every event needs a soul. And soul is nothing but the set of speakers who collectively demonstrate a common theme under which they come together. And when they start expressing their views in the manner what they have demonstrated back in their enterprises, GCC or firms, it starts resonating to the audience. And that is one of the reasons why we've been very conscious about how exactly we need to stitch, curate, and deliver those themes to our leaders. GCC One platform, we launched this thing beginning of the year. We felt with a huge set of scale and outreach, how exactly GCCs can benefit from 3AI. The fact, and this is for the GCC leaders, it's not an easy journey being a GCC leader. And I'm just saying that from the lens of what I've also heard. You are siloed, you're not talking to much outside, you have a corner office, you have set of stakeholders, and the expectation of the stakeholders do change very often, if not every day. And what's that expectation? Cost? Yes. Impact? Yes. Transformation? Yes. Disruption? Yes. Innovation? Yes. AI native? Yes. And these are a lot of business remits. At any given state of time, you would be requiring support on consulting, talent, services, multiple other things, even real estate, even in terms of what's next for a GCC. And this platform subsumes everything where all the business requirements come in. We have select partners who are onboarded, and through that channel, we engage with the GCC leaders to manage these entire set of requirements. Some of you may be surprised, in the last 11 months of the launch, this marketplace, GCC One platform, has generated $13.2 million worth of business. And the sole reason I attribute this particular thing is purely because it's independent of any biases when partners in GCC starts talking together. Partners comes in purely because of their merit, their mettle in terms of the capability solutions and of course the offerings, and GCCs are also very, very clear about what they want after, of course, due diligence, evaluation, and their own kind of the ways how they want to see this partner going. This is about GCC One platform. I'll just move further. Spend 5 minutes So we've covered what this entire event AI MAX entails. We've also covered what 3AI for the uninitiated is all about. Now this is where the aggregation of how we see from the lens of 3AI what our AI and GCC leaders are talking about. Single most biggest rallying cry, I want to be an AI-powered enterprise. I need to be an AI-native GCC. And there is no clear definition. Now, this is where the ecosystem should come together. Now, let me explain what's happening. In the boardrooms, in the senior leaders CXO conversations today, what used to be build AI fluency has now transcended into AI strategy for the enterprise. Look at this scenario. On one side, you have democratization of intelligence. On the other side, because of the complexities, what every enterprise or GCC have with their data, decision-making, budgeting, business metrics, the sum total of AI strategy, unless put into picture, cannot come handy for any organization if they want to deploy AI at scale. And that's imminent. That is one of the single most biggest reason why AI projects fail, because they are never intertwined with the business strategy. Second, let's call it very clearly. If the CXO senior leaders and the boards do not understand AI, they will never feel there is a success metrics around AI, because inadequate knowledge always leads to mirage, where it's difficult to get this bias going. One of also the often conversation, what we have heard from the leaders, that look, don't hoodwink us in the guise of governance, guardrails, this whole regulations, the magic of AI. Yes, if you're building a car for the acceleration, you need to put in those brakes and the best of the safety mechanism. So that's period. For the ones sitting in this room who've been doing AI analytics for 25 years, everyone knows how to put in the guardrails, safety mechanism. But let's not overblow this particular thing. Otherwise, you will never see the real picture of AI. And to top it all, the problem is today, when we talk about AI strategy, you may be thinking about something else, but these are the three dimensions what organizations are thinking about. Whether you are into B2B or B2C, every organization who's building AI strategy, even a GCC, needs to look at reimagining the customer experience. Personalized, bespoke, differentiated, hyper-personalized, it's not easy kind of a thing. And we've seen how organizations have struggled and also kind of came out much in kind of wow when they created that kind of a customer experience, which far more delights their customers. Second, agentic AI actually is a blessing in disguise. And today we have multiple sessions about the architecture, the whole agentic AI use cases from horizontal and vertical viewpoints. It started resulting into the first aspect of providing that efficiency and cost advantages what the company is looking at. But yes, there is a much more to agentic AI, what we will discuss. Third, the transformation of the business to insurtech, to retail, or let's say a fintech cannot happen unless each and every part of the value chain starts getting disrupted. And this is where the roadmap of AI, whether you are a naive or a trailblazer, needs to have a very, very exponential but staggered approach. You cannot jumpstart almost. We've captured some tropical trends. I'm not going into that because this is something we will circulate to all our audience, all our delegates and leaders. But fact today, which is coming very clearly, look, this journey of how you create an AI native GCC or AI powered enterprise is not easy. You need a path, you need a strategy, and you need that enablement mechanism of what we call a 5x3 approach, and also need to have what I call a new set of strategic orientation, how the leaders need to start building AI at scale. Because the fact today, what anyone can notice, these numbers are staggering. From a viewpoint of Gen AI, which includes or subsume agentic AI, this industry alone will be worth $500 billion in no time. And let me tell you, last year when we put the slide, it was a different number because the CAGR of 28% has moved to 34% today. It's huge. So we're talking about almost an industry doubling up in 3 or less than 3 years. And not to take out, we're sitting on a $650 or almost $1 billion of AI analytics industry, which already exists. Now, that's where, in the last, what does it mean for the data AI analytics leader? Today, across the day, we'll have almost about 280 data AI analytics leaders in this room and outside on different sessions speaking out here. I think the fear of unknown today, and this is my own version of saying the fear of unknown today should start now challenging us to be more of a learner. A lot of learning to be done in this segment. And this is also a time where you need to start understanding what exactly you need to start deciphering in terms of what it means in terms of AI for you. As long as that happens, you will start realizing you're creating your own point of view, your own persona, and eventually that's a path for the leadership, what we call it. These are the series of events and engagements we will do next year. Want to spend just a minute, a spate of things, what we are doing next year. And we will talk about that in the subsequent sessions. We also have some kind of a one-on-ones kind of a thing. With that, I keep on saying, look, this is our last event in India as we move into the fag end of 2025. One of the biggest realization for us as a part of this platform and marketplace has been there are immense set of leaders who are really enlightening us, not only in this room and outside, and somewhere in the thick of things, we have stopped recognizing them. So when you have the leaders today who are speaking, who are engaging in panel discussions, my only submission to each one of you is applaud them. Claps are passé, whistles are imminent. Anything you want to do to acknowledge them should come in because they have seen this grind of an industry which we never saw it coming, and this industry is here to say. Thank you so much for your time, really appreciate it.